It is a gorgeous Sunday afternoon here on Memorial Day weekend. Just a beautiful day in the park. And it's Fleet Week in New York, so we have a lot of servicemen and women coming to the ballpark to see A.J. Burnett throw the first pitch for the Yankees. As today, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees Baseball. It's the defending world champion New York Yankees against the Cleveland Indians, the third game of a four-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees Baseball. Along with Paul O'Neill, I'm Michael Kay. Well, this has to be a bounce-back day for the Yankees because it was not a good loss yesterday. Joe Girardi actually admitted that when you have a 10-4 lead, you should win the game. Yankees lost 13-11. Here's how it turned out. 24 runs, 26 hits, 12 pitchers used, 402 pitches thrown, and the time of the game, 4:22. So long, it almost imperiled Paul O'Neill getting to the Bon Jovi concert. But this is what really made it long. The Yankee bullpen just did not do the job in relief of CC Sabathia. David Robertson, his lower back acted up. They had to take him out of the game. Then Sergio Mitre threw 3 pitches all out of the zone. They had to then bring in Damaso Marte. He's the one relief pitcher that actually did his job getting Russell Branyan. And then it got ugly, Paul. What happened was they brought in Jabba Chamberlain, and Jabba simply did not have it.
Well, Jabba Chamberlain came in yesterday in the role that he's supposed to I mean, that's where you get to Mariano. You get 3 or 4 outs at the end of the game and get to your closer. It didn't work yesterday. And if you see, he got ahead with a lot of fastballs and curveballs. He could not put anybody away. He gave up a lot of hits on 2 strikes where he usually can put those guys away. Tough day for Jabba Chamberlain.
Tough day for everybody. Look at the bullpen, how they did. As I said, Marte, the only guy who did his job, but Chamberlain's numbers, not good at all. A third of an inning, 4 hits and 4 runs, and in his last 5 games, he's 0-2. He's given up 11 hits and 11 runs in 5 innings pitched. The Yankees need to straighten him out because, as Paul said, he's the bridge to Mariano. Well, A.J. Burnett has to give the Yankees some length today. A little short in the bullpen. When we come back, Paul O'Neill will talk about A.J. Burnett's last outing. That's on segment 2. Pitching matchup, Justin Masterson will go for the Indians 0-5, 6.13, and for the Yankees, it's A.J. Burnett 5-2 with a 3.55 ERA. Welcome back to Yankees Baseball, everybody. You know him. That's Paul O'Neill. I'm Michael Kay. We're minutes away from the first pitch of this Sunday afternoon Yankees-Indians tilt. Let's talk about A.J. Burnett a little bit. Obviously, the second pitcher in the Yankees starting 5 after Sabathia. He's had a nice year so far. Last time out, he pitched very well.
Yeah, 5-2. He had 5 shutout innings in Minnesota. And he's coming off a start kind of a little different. Phil Hughes, the first game of the series, was looking for a bounce-back start. CC Sabathia yesterday trying to bounce things back. Well, he's coming off one of the better starts of the year for him. I mean, a great curveball, great fastball, and when he gets them both going on the same night, like he did in Minnesota, you're looking at shutout potential.
Absolutely, and he had command, which is sometimes what he loses. So there wasn't much command yesterday, I'll tell you that. 24 runs combined. The game the Yankees lost 13-11. A lot of offense. Lineups, first pitch, baseball. Next on Yes. Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by your Tri-State Volkswagen dealer. Visit tristatevw.com. By Hager, established 1926. Your own great moment starts at Hager.com. And by IOTV. IOTV offers you incredible HD picture and sound. HD is free with IOTV. A little Major League Baseball is going to get thrown around the ballpark today. The Yankees and the Indians hope is not as frequently as yesterday. A lot of pitches thrown, a lot of minutes certainly were taken to complete that game. Again, the Yankees lost 13-11. A.J. Burnett starting his warm-ups, and here's a look at the Indians starting lineup that he'll face, presented by Lexus. Trevor Crowe, the center fielder, will lead off, batting second. Playing right field, Shin Soo Choo. Travis Hafner, the DH, will hit third. Cleaning up and playing left field, Austin Kearns. Russell Branyan at first base will bat fifth. Batting sixth and playing third base, Johnny Peralta. Luis Valbuena, the second baseman, will hit seventh. Batting eighth and catching, Lou Marson. And Jason Donald, the shortstop, is going to bat ninth. A.J. Burnett's going to get the start for the New York Yankees. Burnett, so far this year, is 5-2 in 10 starts, 3.55. More than a hit per inning, but not much. 45 strikeouts, 24 walks. Opponents hitting 270 against him. And Paul, let's take a look now at the scouting report on Yankee starter A.J. Burnett.
Well, he digs the new digs. I mean, he likes the new Yankee Stadium. 8-4 with a 3.14, including the postseason last year. You know, bad history. For some reason, he hasn't matched up well against the Indians. He's 1-4 with a 6.69 ERA. The new battery, this is strange. We'll see how this comes about early in the game. This is the first time that A.J. Burnett and Chad Muller have hooked up as a battery.
We'll see if this battery has any life, and obviously A.J. Burnett has to give the Yankees some length today, especially with the state the bullpen is in right now. Let's take a look at the Yankees defense behind A.J. Burnett. They're going to help him out. Gardner, Granderson, and Swisher left to right. Rodriguez, Jeter, and Cano. And then Teixeira, third to first. Moeller behind the plate. And Burnett is on the mound. And that defense brought to you by Mercedes. Indians come in at 18-29. And the Yankees come in at 29-20. Trevor Crowe digs in. He's ready. A.J. Burnett is ready. And let's do it here in the Bronx. The first pitch is a fastball strike, and we are underway.
Hear that pop on the fastball on a beautiful sunny day, Michael? Huh?
Nice. Can hear it all the way up here.
Let you know that you were at the ballpark early.
And the 0-1. Fly ball left field. Gardner drifts back, still back, still back. Boy, that ball traveled. He makes the play on the warning track, 1 out.
Well, you're getting close to summertime baseball here. You know, you're 80 degrees, sunny weather. Ball carries a little bit better. And you also see that Brett Gardner's going to fight that sun a little bit in left field today.
You played left field the first year with the Yankees at the old place. Left field's as tough as they say.
Yeah, it is. There are certain times of the year, early and late, that in the year I'm talking about, that the sun can really be a problem. Today's one of those days, you know, no cloud cover. Beautiful day to be a fan. Tough day to be a player out there. I actually talked to Derek Jeter today before the game out on the field, and he was saying that, you know, he had trouble picking up the ball as an infielder. You know, with the white shirts here, just as bad as the old stadium.
The 0-1. And Shin Soo Choo skips out of the way. Yankees have taken care of Choo, who's really one of the Indians' best players. Held him hitless so far in the first 2 games. In fact, he's 0 for his last 13.
There's one guy who didn't get in the party yesterday, 0 for 6. We talked about it yesterday, probably their best offensive player all around.
And now he's 0 for his last 14. Teixeira will take it himself 2 away.
You see that good sink on Burnett's fastball there, and you know, that's a ball as a hitter, even with a good swing, that you really can't handle. It just feels like you're hitting a shot put. There's so much movement, it makes the ball so heavy as soon as you make contact.
Here's Travis Hafner. He's raised his average quite a bit in the month of May. 24 for 84, that's 375. So he was in the low 200s all the way up to 275 right now. There's a strike. Good velocity for A.J. Burnett early, throwing that one 95 miles an hour. He's usually at 93, 94. And Paul said a good matchup for A.J. Burnett. Said this during our pregame because free-swinging young team. So they'll expand the strike zone just a little bit. Hafner's one of the few veterans on this team. You get a disciplined team, they're going to force you to throw strikes. And they're not going to help you with the pitch 2 or 3 inches off the outside corner. The Indians might do that. The 1-1. That one is ripped to right field. It's a base hit for Hafner. Playing it off the wall beautifully is Swisher. And he's going to hold Hafner to a single. Nice play by Nick Swisher.
One of the benefits of being an outfielder in Yankee Stadium with the short porch, you know if you get a good care on what he did, you get rid of the ball quick, you can hold that guy to a single. Hafner hit the ball sometimes. As a left-handed hitter, you can hit the ball too hard. Gets to the wall too quick.
Here's Austin Kearns. 4-game hitting streak for Austin. 7 hits in his last 17 at-bats. Putting together a nice season at 309. Now, there's such an incredible split when you look at A.J. Burnett, and it's startling, really, because usually it's the other way around. Opponents are hitting 143 points lower when there are runners on base than with the bases empty. Bases empty, they hit 336 against A.J. He works out of the stretch, it's 193. I wonder, Paul, with those numbers as stark as they are, if he should consider always pitching out of the stretch.
You know, the first thing that comes to my mind when you talk about that is, you know, you don't overthrow nearly as much from the stretch. You don't have a full windup, and he probably gets better movement on the ball. Doesn't try to do anything other than throw a strike. And it's one guy that you would like to just have his stuff and go out on the mound and pitch, because it'd be a lot of fun.
The only other pitcher that has a higher differential amongst American League qualifiers is Wade Davis of the Tampa Bay Rays. Young pitcher, doesn't have great command, but he gets a lot tougher when there are runners on base. Shattered bat, ground ball foul. Now, A.J. has not had great success against the Indians. 1-4, 6.69. And you see these 5 Indians with some level of success, but each one of them have hit a home run against A.J. Burnett.
Every one of those is probably a sinker that didn't sink, you know. Every once in a while you get that little tailing, sinking fastball, and it doesn't sink. It's a good pitch to drive.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Just stays alive on the breaking ball. Hey, let's look at the game time weather conditions. Paul, you always like this. It's presented by Bigelow Tea.
Cannot wait.
78 degrees, Paul. 40% humidity. The wind, very insignificant. 9 miles per hour. And although you look at that sky, it says forecast partly cloudy. Not right now, it isn't. Perfect day, don't you think?
You know what? This is one that I tell you what. Last December, and you were dreaming about days like this.
The 2-2. Strike 3. Beautiful breaking ball whispering across the outside corner. No runs you hit, no errors, 1 man left. Indians nothing, and the New York Yankees coming to bat. The captain, the shortstop, Derek Jeter, leads off. Batting second and playing center field, Curtis Granderson. Mark Teixeira at first base will hit third. Cleaning up and playing third base is Alex Rodriguez. Robinson Cano at second will bat fifth. Batting sixth and playing right field, Nick Swisher. Juan Miranda, the DH, will hit seventh. Batting eighth and playing left field, Brett Gardner. Chad Moeller is going to catch, and he'll bat ninth. Now it's time for Justin Masterson. Those are his numbers. They're not pretty. 0-5, 6.13. Opponents hitting .321 against him. He has an 11-game personal losing streak. Not good. Let's take a look at the scouting report on Justin Masterson, Paul.
Well, lefty's dream. I mean, lefties were hitting .386 against Masterson this year. Maybe we ought to suit up, Michael.
Well, you're a lefty. I'll have to watch.
I thought you were a lefty.
I'm righty.
In the park, one of the better things about Masterson this year, hasn't given up a lot of home runs, and he's had 4 straight games without a home run. Familiar foe. You remember this guy with the Red Sox. He was a Red Sox fan, and then he's come over to the Indians in the Victor Martinez trade.
A beautiful one by Derek Jeter. Peralta, Fields, fires. Jeter got him sleeping, got himself a base hit. And that extends his hitting streak to 7 straight.
Well, good players just have a good feel for the game. And right here, Jeter knew coming out of the on-deck circle, he was probably going to do this. Probably checked down there to see where he was playing. Good bunt. Not much you can do.
Barehanded the ball. Got a fairly good grip on it. But Jeter was very close to first base before the throw was released. Here's Granderson. Pitch low, 1-0. Just underway. Indians don't score in the top of the first inning. And a strike.
Good fastball there. I mean, this was another one of those things. When you make a trade, you know, Victor Martinez goes over to one of your better hitters, better players on the team, and then you trade for a young guy. He's come over here. He's 19 starts. He's 1-12. So it just hadn't quite worked out the way the Indians are playing so far.
Throws a lot of pitches. 19.8 pitches per game. That's the highest of any pitcher in the American League. 1-2.
We got over 400 yesterday, Mike.
Yeah.
Can't top that today, right?
That's a long time to wait for a win. August 20th of 09. I don't think we could top that, Paul.
You know, it's a funny thing because you see pitchers' numbers like that, and a lot of fans will.
That one's chopped to third. Peralta goes the second one on to first. Not in time as Granderson really tested previously injured groin and beat out the return throw. Let's take a look at the Indians' defense, brought to you by Mercedes. In the outfield, Kearns, Crow, and Chu. That's left to right. Infield third to first, let's go. Peralta, Donald, Valbuena, and Branyan. And then Morrison behind the plate. Throws out 32% of all base stealers, which is a good number. And Masterson is on the mound. Now let's see if Granderson is healthy enough to attempt a stolen base. Here's Mark Teixeira.
Let's see how he gets out of the box, and that groin muscle we say comes into play a lot. Looks pretty smooth. Grimace there at the base.
Talking to Kevin Long, the Yankee batting coach, during batting practice near the cage, and we were talking about Teixeira. And he said he has more problems lately from the left side, especially on pitches on the outside part of the plate. He's kind of rolling over on it. He said on the inside, he covers that ball well. He said pitches on the inside, he's going to hit it hard. And I said, well, how about that whole left side of the infield open? And he said he's struggling. His average is not where he wants it to be. Why doesn't he take it? He goes, you know what? It's the Giambi thing. He said, I'm a pull hitter. I'm a power hitter. He goes, but he should take a couple of those because you know what? Then they're going to start coming inside on him. He said if you keep punching that outside pitch the other way for a single against the shift, either they're going to get rid of the shift or they're going to start to pitch inside.
Especially with men in scoring position. That's where you can really, you know, you can knock in a guy from second base with just an easy swing to left field. And it can be really, really effective when they play these funky shifts on you. And Michael, getting back to what I was talking about, him being Owen is waiting for a start to see him drive out in the right field.
Granderson was going. Nice diving play by Chu. Granderson gets back.
And the point is that, as a fan, if you look at a guy who has not won a game in that long, you think, how can this guy be in the major leagues? You really have to have pretty good stuff. You see Chu, we've talked about his defensive skills, pretty good, solid player.
Well, that's going to be really a test for the groin, to stop and go action. It looks like he's okay.
Yeah, he really does look good running. Doesn't look like he's favoring the leg or anything.
Here's A-Rod outside.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is to be in the major leagues with a record, your past record like that, you have to have pretty good stuff, because most guys that have records like that are sent immediately to the minor leagues because they don't have good enough stuff. So they believe in this kid. Obviously, he was in a big trade, so they're going to stick with him, give him every opportunity to try to be successful, try to make the organization look a little better. After you get rid of Victor Martinez, who was a great hit.
They always say about guys that lose 20 games. If you didn't have good stuff, they'd never allow you to lose 20 games.
You can't get that far, right?
Alex Rodriguez finally caught up with the Indians pitcher David Huff, who got hit on the comebacker by Alex. And they talked yesterday. Alex was actually on his way to the hospital to visit him, but they'd already released him, and he was back with the team. And he said that David had told him, I was going to come get you tomorrow, meaning today. And Alex said, why? He said, because I was going to ask you, that all you got?
Yeah.
And then Alex laughed and said, I got to tell you, David, that's all I got. He said, Alex said, the scary part for him, he said, nobody in the ballpark knows but me how hard I hit the ball. He said, you can't hit a ball harder than I hit it. He goes, and that was scary. He goes, that's a real scary part of the game. And then I saw Huff today. Doesn't look like he got hit. I mean, there's no swollen area of the head. And
there are better places to get hit. And when you're talking about the head, there's not very many. But it looked like it kind of ricocheted off the side. And the one we talked about yesterday in Fenway Park with Bryce Fleury, where it hits you in the face square. That's the one that just absolutely is grotesque.
Runner goes. That one is grounded to third. Peralta. And it pulls Branyan off the bag, but he tags A-Rod on the way by, so that's going to do it. No runs, a bunt hit, no errors, and one man left on base. We've played one at the stadium. There's no score on yes. Seems like he's okay. And this is what David Huff wrote on Twitter last night. That looks like more than 140 characters. Anyway, everything is good. It was a little scary, but I'm out of the hospital. I'm with my family. I'd like to thank the Yankees team doctors and our trainers for making sure I was okay. I'd also like to thank the Yankees for taking care of my family. To A-Rod for contacting me. One class act. So I guess David Huff and Dallas Braden feel a little bit differently, but obviously A-Rod was very frightened by what happened, and David Huff showed that he's a really, really tough kid. And they did talk, and A-Rod was actually headed to Columbia Presbyterian when he was leaving the ballpark, and then found out that they had released him. He got the cell phone number from the Indians and called up David Huff and spoke to him on the cell when he was leaving the hospital. And you know what's unbelievable? That there's a history in the Yankee-Indian rivalry of these terrible comebackers against pitchers. And Gil McDougall of the Yankees hit Herb Score in the eye. There's a ground ball to second on the bat of Branyan, one away, and that kind of ruined Herb Score's career. He was a great pitcher. They thought he had Hall of Fame stuff. He stuck around in the big leagues, but he was never the same. And then the only fatality ever in baseball, Carl Mays and Ben Chapman. It was Yankees against the Indians, a comebacker, and I think that was a thrown ball. And obviously it's the only guy who was ever killed by a thrown ball.
You know, it's funny because you keep saying comebacker, and in my mind, a comebacker is like, you know, a two-hopper back to the pitcher. I mean, you got to realize that was an absolute line drive. You don't have reaction time. I mean, your body just cannot react when you're going forward toward the plate, react to a ball coming at you that fast.
That one's popped up. And Moeller gives it a look. Well, if you missed what we're talking about, listen, obviously this is not a good thing to watch, but this is how it happened. And Paul, you're right, it got him on the side. It got him flush, but it didn't get him in the eye. It got him above the left ear. And Joe Girardi, I spoke to today, said the thing that scared him, he said, I'm looking for movement.
Right.
He said that for about 6 minutes there was no movement. And I was very, very concerned. He said, but one of our photographers said that he saw him talking through the lens, and he said that made me a little less nervous. Swing and a miss.
And that's that curveball right there. A.J. Burnett, if he can get ahead with that fastball, especially against guys, you know, that are dead fastball hitters, I mean, this breaking ball is going to make the world of difference today.
Swing and a miss. Nasty. IOTV offers you incredible HD picture and sound. HD is free with IOTV, the official HD service provider of Yankees baseball on Yes.
Again, ahead with the fastball, then two breaking balls. Johnny Peralta, we talked yesterday, dead fastball hitter. He just waves at it. You're not going to be alone, Johnny. That's a good breaking ball.
Well, we were talking about Huff and how he laid motionless on the mound, and he explained today he did that because he didn't want to move his neck. So he was obviously very conscious of what was going on. And Paul, you were part of a pitcher, quote unquote, getting hit in spring training at Port St. Lucie. Charlie Wansowitz, still with the team, was a left-handed batting practice pitcher, and Wade Boggs hit one. And it just got past the L in the screen and hit him on the side of the head. And for a while there, they thought that Charlie was going to die.
Yeah, that's you know, that brings back bad memories, and that is also, you know, in a batting practice with your own teammate, and that was a horrible thing. And it took Charlie. It wasn't you know, a week-long thing to get back on the field. Like
months.
Yeah, it was. You know, that changed his life for a while.
He said, I was talking to him today about it. He said, I remember I insisted on walking off. He said, then I walked off the field and got to the trainer's table, and I kind of went into shock. He said, people told me that the Yankee owner, George Steinbrenner, stood there and held my hand on the table and called up a doctor who was a facial reconstruction doctor who was giving a speech in Japan and made him come back to Florida to perform the surgery. And Charlie, thank God, is okay. Luis Valbuena flies out in the center. A 10-pitch inning for A.J. Burnett. The Indians go down in order 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the second. these sports celebrating celebration injuries was the most bizarre. You can text your vote to 58772. Standard text messaging rates apply. And here are those choices. The Gus Farad headbutt, Ted Ginn Jr. tackled, Gramatica jumping up after making a field goal, and then Kendry Morales landing on home plate. Now, for those that didn't see the papers today, Kendry Morales hit a walk-off grand slam. Touched home plate, team jumped all over him, broke his leg, he's out for the season.
Yeah, it's amazing in the celebrations.
This is it right here. This is what happened. So, talk about from ecstasy to agony. So he has a walk-off, he jumps on home plate, and then they go on top of him, and his leg shattered.
Wow. I remember one time, far less than this, but I got a hit, and I was rounding first. It was a game winner, and all of a sudden, you're getting, and Mattingly runs out, and he smokes me in my nose with the bill of his hat. So I'm walking in the dugout, and I'm bleeding. I'm like, Cap, what's up with this, man?
Well, Joe Girardi was saying today that he had never thought he'd never heard of an injury like that. Mark Teixeira told him in a minor league game that a guy scored and tore his ACL because everybody mobbed him. And then he didn't even know this, but you were part of this game, Paul, when Derek Jeter hit the walk-off home run in the 2001 World Series, the one that made him Mr. November. Right. Turned his ankle jumping up on home plate, and in game 6 and 7 against Diamondbacks, he wasn't right. He couldn't move because he had almost broken his ankle on home plate.
There's a lot of emotion at those times, but it's the crowd of people that involved that causes injury.
There's a ground ball at first base. Cano is retired. Well, Joe Girardi said that after the Kendry Morales thing, he's going to tell his team, let a guy step on home plate. Don't crowd around home plate like that. He said that's also one of the reasons that the Yankees have taken when they do the walk-off, and last year they had 15 in the regular season, to toss the helmet away. He said because when you have the helmet on, people really pound on your head very hard. If you don't have the helmet, they're not going to do that. So that's one of the reasons they toss it away. How about, you got to really feel for the Angels, and Kendry Morales is a really good player.
Yeah.
There's Nick Swisher. What a May for Nick Swisher. 30 for 82, 366. Well, this is what they're going to miss from Kendry Morales, the first baseman. 290, 1139. On base percentage close to 350. Slugging percentage close to 500. Broken leg, celebrating a walk-off grand slam. Wow. How ironic he couldn't walk off after his walk-off. There's a ground ball at first. Branyan will flip to Masterson. Paul, you wanted to also continue what happened with Charlie Wands after that comeback off of Boggs.
Now that you brought it up, I remember that. And the thing was, it was early in batting practice, and most of the times when people get hit, they take them off and you continue. And I can remember I was in the group hitting, and it was just like, they were trying to run somebody back in, finish batting practice. Like, that's it. Everybody just like, enough for today. We went into the clubhouse and came out later, obviously, and played the game. But, those injuries to people that you care about, people that are on your team, they're upsetting.
And Charlie's the nicest guy and works so hard, and he's been with the organization so long. He was just a kid then. And, now he has a wife and family, so thank God he's okay. As a bat goes flying into the stands off the hands of Miranda. Little guy got the bat. Looks like he's okay. You see that little kid's hat where the bat landed? The Yankees are going to be wearing that hat tomorrow. It's a sharp-looking cap for Memorial Day, and they're going to see if little Levinson is okay. But he, it's a white hat with the blue bill and the red, white, and blue interlocking NY with the stars and stripes.
Wow, I haven't heard the interlocking NY from you in a while, Mike.
TV, I can't describe it. But that's a good-looking lid, man. That one's a ground ball up the middle and a base hit for Juan Miranda. But anyway, the Yankees will wear that hat tomorrow. All Major League teams will wear it to honor Memorial Day. So the second hit against Justin Masterson.
We'll sinker away. Good piece of hitting. Don't try to roll over and pull it to the second baseman. Kept it up the middle. Just out of reach.
You're going back to Cincinnati with one of those hats.
I got a good feeling about that. I like that.
There's Brett Gardner. And there's a strike.
Yeah, Robbie Kakuza, if you're listening, I need one of those tomorrow.
I'll take one too, but mine's got to be a little bigger than Paul's.
I don't know if they carry an 8.5.
No, they're just going. They'll go into the Arabu bin. The 0-1. I'm not 8, man. I'm about 7.5, 7 5/8.
That's large.
That's a big head, but it's not 8.
It's borderline. It's getting there. Yeah, most of those hats are fitted, you know, the official Major League fit. You might have to go to the adjustable one.
Get
the little plastic on the back.
And then not even connect the plastic.
Yeah, like that's always a good look.
I need that. Count 2-2. Wow. Doug Eddings is in good voice today.
Take control of that strike zone early after yesterday's fiasco over there, out there. There's one guy that Brett Gardner all of a sudden is getting that feeling of an everyday player.
Oh, he could not hold up. C.B. Buckner
had to get involved, didn't he?
Well, he did. He punches out Gardner, and that'll do it in the second. No runs to hit, no errors, and one man left. Did he go? Probably did. So C.B. Buckner. Afternoon here at Yankee Stadium. Big crowd, Memorial Day weekend. All is right with the world, and the Yankees and the Indians scoreless on the Dodge scoreboard. And the third inning means we get a chance to talk to our colleague Jack Curry, who is down in the camera well, third base side, looking resplendent in a summer suit. Jack, how you feeling? Good? You look good.
Thanks a lot, Michael. Feeling great down here. A little toasty, but beautiful baseball weather.
All right, now how about Posada? Is he feeling great? Obviously still on the DL, but he looks like he's ready to roll. He wants to play.
I tell you, Michael, the Yankees should be encouraged about this because Jorge Posada was speaking very optimistically about his situation before the game. He talked about needing to take batting practice, then needing to test himself by running. He wasn't really high on the idea of then going out on a rehab stint, Michael. He wants to come back soon. He's eligible to come back on Tuesday, so I figured the Yankees might give him a few days. I said, do you think perhaps next weekend in Toronto you could be a player? And he said, no, I'm looking to play earlier than that.
And earlier than that would be the Baltimore series here at Yankee Stadium. He took batting practice out here, as you mentioned. They want to see him run on a treadmill, then out on the field. And Joe Girardi actually had a pretty good line, Jack. He said, this is not a player that we really have to be concerned about speed.
Right. Unlike Granderson, who's going to have to use his legs for a lot of what makes him a good player, they're not worried about Posada's speed. I think they're worried about him being able to move and move well enough that he's not going to injure himself. But again, good news, Michael. It'll be interesting to me to see if there's any back and forth between the Yankees. If Posada wants to come back on a certain day, they might have to restrain him a little because you know the Yankees have a habit of, okay, you're ready, but let's wait another day or two.
Well, the Yankees have missed him, Jack, because that switch hitter really lengthens the lineup and gives Girardi more balance at the bottom of the order.
Absolutely, and they need him back. Let's face it. I mean, Chad Moeller is in there today because they're giving Cervelli a day off, but they need Posada.
Now, the Yankee universe actually hooked up with the Steven Strasburg universe last night, but at the AAA level. Tell me what happened there.
I'll tell you what, a good night for the Scranton-Wilkes-Barre Yankees. They actually beat Steven Strasburg and Syracuse 3-2. Strasburg, of course, is probably the most hyped minor league pitcher ever. This guy throws close to 98, 99, Michael, and the Yankees beat him 3-2. So I had the chance to talk to Rene Rivera. He's a catcher at AAA for the Yankees, who they just signed out of independent ball. He had a home run off Strasburg in one of his 2 at-bats, so I asked him for a scouting report. And, Michael, he was talking about it as if he was giving a laundry list for going to the supermarket. But he said, yes, fastball's about 98 or 99. Great curveball, great changeup. But he hit a 3-2 fastball the other way, so he was pretty excited.
Now, from what you hear, Jack, is Strasburg's next start going to be in the big leagues or one more in the minors as Marson, who's had a good series, lines a single left?
From what I've been hearing, Michael, is the Nationals are going to play it safe. I think he'll get another start at the minor league level. And I believe the date that they're targeting, that everybody seems to be pointing towards, is June 8th. We know the Nationals want to start him during a homestand. They're home from June 4th to June 10th. They want to get the bang for their buck. They'll sell out on the night that he pitches, Michael. He's that good. Rivera, by the way, is a guy who's had some time in the minor leagues. He played with Seattle. He's had about 50 or so games in the minor leagues. He compared Strasburg's fastball to Felix Hernandez's.
Pretty amazing stuff. Now, speaking of pitching, another perfect game, the second one of the season. First one from Dallas Braden and Roy Halladay yesterday as well for the Phillies against the Marlins, 1-0. Yankees might get a chance to see Halladay.
I'll tell you what, Michael, those 400 pitches we saw yesterday here weren't enough for me. When I got home, I tuned in. I caught the last 4 or 5 outs of Halladay's perfect game. And the way he was pitching, Michael, I know you can't really predict this stuff. I think he could have gotten 10 more outs. But you're right. If things stay the way that they are and he pitches every 5th day, he would pitch against the Yankees in the series opener on June 15th against the Phils.
There's a push bunt, and it's foul. It's funny, Paul, we were both at the Bon Jovi concert at the new Meadowlands Stadium, and Jack wanted to make me feel like I was missing something, and he texted me and said, tell John Bon Jovi Roy Halladay just pitched the perfect game.
Yeah, I got the same text from my son, not to tell John Bon Jovi anything, but just Roy Halladay pitched a perfect game with an exclamation mark.
Well, he's a sports fan, Michael. I figured, in between a song or two, he might let the fans know.
I'll tell you what, though, Jack, I didn't have the close proximity to John Bon Jovi the way Paul did, so you should have texted Paul. I think he would have gotten it to him.
You know what, Jack? Last time I went to a concert and sat behind Michael, I couldn't even see the stage from the back of him, so I had to get better seats this time.
And there's a bunt by Jason Donald, and it is a successful bunt, so moving to second is Marson. Jack, we went to school together. Can you defend me on that one or not?
Well, once O'Neill gives me his cell phone number, then I'll be able to text him.
Good stuff, Jack. We'll talk to you later.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, Jack Curry will be with us on the post-game show with Bob Lorenz. So, you had good seats yesterday.
Not so bad.
Yeah.
My wife takes care of this. She doesn't like to buy the upper deck seats.
She knows how to live. So runner at second base, and that is Lou Marson. They're going to score that a sacrifice successful. They score at 1-4, and that's Marson at second with Trevor Crowe at the plate. No score, top of the third. Pitch outside.
I'll tell you, Michael, looking over what we've seen from Trevor Crowe over this this little trial period, with Grady Sizemore being on the disabled list, he's our everyday kind of star center fielder. Defensively, he's shown a lot out there. If he can get his bat going when Grady Sizemore comes back, you can move to a corner position, or at least work your way back into the lineup where your name is in that lineup once in a while.
That one is driven into left center field. Going to be a tough play. Giving chase, Gardner and Granderson. Falls between them. Scoring easily is Marson. It's an RBI single for Trevor Crowe, and the Indians are up 1-0.
You see Trevor Crowe, he drives the ball the other way. A sinker that didn't sink, kind of just tailed away. But, if you're Manny Acta and you're playing as a young team where, you're pretty much overmatched out on the field, these are the plays you want to see a guy aggressively go to second base, give it a shot. See that throws offline there. He's probably going to make it. Brett Gardner let the ball in fairly quick. But, as a young player, you'd much rather see a guy make an aggressive mistake than always be safe and not go for that extra base.
They got him picked off clean. Nobody at first base. Now Moeller does a nice job rotating over there, and they make the play. So 1-3-6-2 for the pickoff. Really, you call it caught stealing.
We see Trevor Crowe. You see him leaning. A.J. Burnett, clean pickoff. And all of a sudden, at the end of this play, Chad Moeller kind of bails out everybody. Gets to first base. Good hustle play as a catcher.
Who's supposed to be there? Is it supposed to be the catcher?
Yeah, Moeller took off, but A.J. Burnett can also get over there. There's got to be kind of an assembly line going to places where if this rundown isn't quick.
And the ESMO shows that he was out. Foul back. There's a strike, 1-2.
There's really, you see Trevor Crowe get picked off first base, but it was caused by kind of a mistake by not going for second on that ball in the gap. And, if you stretch that into a double, then you don't have to steal second base. And these are the things that, certain times in the game that you try to take the extra base. And especially with that ball, I mean, out in left center field, Gardner, a left-hander, is kind of reaching across his body. It's going to be a tough throw for him to go into second. There's things you kind of store in the back of your mind, so if you get in that position again, you don't hesitate.
And the 1-2. 2-2.
As a young player, you're so happy to get a hit, and you try not to make a mistake. But again, with Brett Gardner being a left-handed player out in left field, and you're reaching across your body, it's a really, really tough play to make a good throw into second base.
Spins him off the plate.
Shelley Duncan over there going to give some advice to somebody. I think he likes to talk, right?
Loves it.
Yeah.
(3-2). Hit sharply. Oh, nice play by Cano. Sets, fires, got him. All around, great game of late by Robinson Cano. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and nobody left. the backhand, then the strong throw as we go to the bottom of the third inning. 1-0 Tribe. One more game against the Indians tomorrow on Memorial Day. Then the Orioles come to town. 2 night games, Tuesday and Wednesday, and a day game at 1:05. Then the Yankees hit the road, 3 in Toronto, and a day off, and then 3 in Baltimore. And there's a strike to Chad Moeller. So Dustin Masterson has a 1-0 lead here on the Dodge scoreboard. Moeller, Jeter, and Granderson 9-1 and 2.
What's the difference in Masterson today and what you've seen over in Cleveland? I mean, he's throwing strikes. He's keeping the ball down. He's pretty much stayed ahead of hitters. He's not throwing his usual 19 to 25 pitches an inning.
Nice exchange. Moeller and O'Neill behind the batting cage. Moeller got back to his hotel room and turned on the TV, and the Yankee game was on Yes, the replay. And I guess that's when you were saying, you know, you just come up from the minor leagues first about that ball's got to stay fair.
That's right.
And he said, I couldn't agree with you more. His first at bat on Friday night, he hit a long drive down the left field line that just took foul. The 1-2. 2-2. When asked today, why is Cervelli sitting again? Joe Joy said, I can't kill the guy. He said, I can't play him every day. You know, it was a 4-hour-and-a-half game yesterday. He said, I can't keep running him out there. He said, we got to keep him healthy, as Moeller could not hold up.
You see that good movement there. And when you lock up a right-handed hitter as a right-handed pitcher, you know you've got that good tail, that good sink. That ball right there is going to give a lot of right-handers a lot of trouble.
A.J. Burnett's looking for some runs. Jeter bunted and reached in the first inning, so he has a 7-game hitting streak now. And Jeter really loves home cooking. Coming into this game here at Yankee Stadium, a 378 hitter, and on the road a 234 hitter. And that's why he's under 300. The Yankees have played a lot of games on the road so far this year. It'll all even out. Fouled away.
You think? At the end of the year, you think there'll be 81 home, 81 away?
Unless there's some unforeseen rainout that's not made up yet. I'm pretty sure on that. Yeah, some teams it doesn't even out because Toronto is playing 3 home games in Philadelphia because of the G20 summit in Toronto. As Jeter grounds out to Peralta. 2-away. Hey, this moment in Yankees history brought to you by Johnny Walker. Demand greatness in every sip and every season. Johnny Walker, proud sponsor of the New York Yankees. On this date in 1935. Lou Gehrig collects his 2,000th hit of his career against the Senators in Washington.
You see this little guy here, Michael?
Yeah.
That guy, he looks like he's just strutting around there, right? Have you ever seen him run on the scoreboard? That little scoreboard that goes around Yankee Stadium?
I have seen that.
He's got wheels. That guy can run.
He's kind of like a combination between Granderson and
Johnny
and
Walker has got some wheels.
He's kind of Johnny Runner then, right? Granderson's going to test out his wheels right here, but the throw from Balbuena beats him, and Masterson works a 1-2-3 inning against the Yankees. We played 3 here at the stadium, 1-0 Indians. Line quiz. With Roy Halladay's perfect game last night, the Phillies became the 5th Major League Baseball team with at least 2 pitchers to throw perfect games. Who are the other 4 teams? I think we know one of them. If you're watching this broadcast, I'm not even going to tell you because I fear losing my job. I don't want to give out any hints, but Paul O'Neill is one of the, I think, are you the only player to appear in 3 perfect games?
Yeah, I've heard that. I'm not going to give you 100%, but you know, that
Browning,
just,
Wells, and Cohn.
It tells you you've been on some good team with some good pitching. Huh?
Or you're just a lucky guy.
Pretty much.
Maybe you're like a Lucky Charm guy.
Pretty much, yeah. Unlike you, to nickname you Schleprock.
That's right.
Man.
I could kill any hitting streak you had.
And you did, Manny.
Now, Alfredo Griffin played on 3 losing perfect games. That's Schleprock. Okay, that's not me. The 1-0. 1-1 to Hafner. I want to take this time. I would like to, and the entire Yes Network family would like to, send our condolences to our good friend, Willie Randolph, and the Randolph family. Willie lost his dad yesterday in South Carolina. They were very, very close. The patriarch of a proud family, raising a great son like Willie, and lost a health battle yesterday. And we send our condolences to Willie and his family. We are thinking of him, and we hope that they get through this difficult time. Willie's dad had an amazing life. Started out as a sharecropper, became a cab driver in New York, raised the kids in Brooklyn, and saw his son go on to become a world champion with the Yankees a couple of times, ended up being the first African-American manager of the New York Mets. Now he's a bench coach with the Milwaukee Brewers, and I know Willie's dad was very proud of his son, and Willie is very proud of his dad. So I communicated with Willie today, and the family is hurting, but we're all thinking of him here at Yes. Here's Austin Kearns. 2-0. Kern struck out looking in the first inning. Foul back. Count 2-1. Standing by the batting cage today, you felt like playing, didn't you?
I'll tell you what, you walk out on a field on a day like this, and then you read Masterson's scouting report on how good left-handers hit. Yeah, you do get a little itch to grab the bat. Funny thing is I walked down in the tunnel because I was going to get out of the sun for a while and go and say hey to Robbie. I was watching Pettit. Pettit was down there throwing with Sabathia in the cage, and was just kind of watching him warm up. And I said, you know the weird thing here, Andy? And he's like, yeah. Well, I said, I can't even see the seams on the baseball anymore. Because as a hitter, if you can't see the seams, you can't hit it, right? And I mean, they're throwing 50, 60, 70% at the most, just getting loose. And I'm like, wow, times have changed.
So a walk to Kern. So that doesn't mean that your eyesight has gotten worse since you retired. It's just that you're not as locked in anymore.
Probably means a little of both, to tell you the truth. But you see, this is a curveball, no intent. It just
I hit him. It wasn't a walk. That's going to bring up Russell Branyan. Let's take a look at the Home Depot hitter scouting report, Paul.
Well, Russell Branyan, I mean, he's here for one thing. This is a comfortable spot for him. He's done really well in New Yankee Stadium, hitting home run, limitless power. I mean, if you watch this guy take batting practice, he'll hit him as far as anybody in the league. And kind of he was a high prospect. He started with the Indians, promising prospect, but then he played with 7 different teams before he's come back, full circle, back to the Indians, trying to fill a void and add some power.
The 0-1.
So what was your feel last night at the stadium? Can you see the Giants and the Jets crowds? I mean, is that place going to be live, loud?
Well, the sound system was great. I'm not sure how it's going to be with fans, how it's going to hold the sound. But they held the sound for Bon Jovi very well.
Pretty neat, big screens. And what's the percentages here when you talk about Jets and Giants fans? Just give me a ballpark.
Well, the Giants have been around longer, so I think that they probably have a higher percentage of fans. But Rex Ryan's so popular, I think that the Jets are not catching up, but certainly closing the gap just a bit. That's a swing and a miss as Branyan goes down on strikes. And it's always worked out this way, Paul. Yankee fans are Giant fans because the Giants used to play here. And Jet fans are Met fans because they used to play in Shea Stadium. For the most part, I don't want to say
always
a total broad stroke of the brush, but it seems like most of the time. You a Brown fan or a Bengal fan?
Well, I live in Cincinnati. I used to like the Browns more back in the days when they were good, but Cincinnati had a pretty good team last year. And it's so easy as a hometown person when a sports team does well to jump on the bandwagon. It's amazing how sports teams can just change the way cities feel. I mean, people have a good feeling. They're talking about things, and take it for granted sometimes, especially as a Yankee fan, that your Yankees win year in and year out. It's a hard thing for an organization to do.
Runner goes. That one is hit deep to right field. Going back is Swisher. Ball carrying today, and he makes the play. Also forgets how many outs there were as he fires the ball in. That was the final out, and he is laughing right now. He got caught up in the excitement of making a splendid play up against the auxiliary scoreboard and right. Catch it, Nick, and then hurry up and fire it back in. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning. It's 1-0 Indians. And leading off Mark Teixeira, he takes a strike. And he does ground it to the left side, but a nice play by the third baseman, Peralta. And the throw pulls Brandon off the bag. I think that Mark really tried to do it that time. I think he's so frustrated, he said, let me pick up a cheap hit here.
I think he was walking through the clubhouse a couple innings ago, and he heard Michael Kay say, you know, I agree with him. I'm going to shoot one over in the hole. Good play here. Had him with a great throw, but obviously scored a base hit.
Good throw would have had him, but it did pull him off the bag, and they do give him a base hit. Pitch to A-Rod is a strike. This is a play that ended the top of the fourth, Paul.
That switcher gets a great jump on the ball, and every once in a while you just got to lunge. You know you're going to hit the ball, and then you go for that fourth out. And maybe sometimes you only got to get two. See, AJ say I only got to get two next inning because we got four this inning. Final leap, and you see there, now you know you have the ball, now you know you're getting hit. And it really does, yeah, you can laugh about it now, but boy, after the game, all of a sudden that back gets a little stiff.
Hey, Paul, you ever get fined for getting how many outs are? I mean, do they get, does the manager get ticked off when you lose?
Oh, yeah, you get ticked off, obviously, especially in a base running thing where, you know, you take off and you get a double play, but you know, it happens at every level. It happens from Little League all the way through the major leagues. Sometimes when you're out there thinking about other things, you lose sight. You were never taught to trust the scoreboard and what the scoreboard said, but I'm not going to lie. I used to peek around, and I had full trust in it because usually I forgot what was happening. You're worried about an at-bat or who you're going to face next inning. All you're thinking, you know, whether here's the pitcher, how many outs are there? Boy, you got to find that scoreboard quick.
Rodriguez swings and misses. He's down on strikes.
You know, Alex, to me, looks close on some of his at-bats to becoming the Alex Rodriguez that you're used to seeing. And then every once in a while, he just looks like he's a little uncomfortable. Didn't quite gather there. Good pitch to hit. Like I said, a couple of at-bats yesterday, he looks real close to starting to really drive the ball.
Cano drives one deep to left center. Crow back, still back, looking up. It's off the wall. Teixeira had to hold up to see if it was going to be caught, so he'll move to third. A double for Cano. A 13-game hitting streak for Cano. And boy, he has a lot of power the other way, Paul.
You know what? You get sick and tired of just talking about how good this guy is. But I mean, look at this pitch. Is out of the zone, up and away. Don't try to pull it. For a left-handed hitter, you know, just to drive the ball 399 feet the other way. He's going to get to the point where he gets to second base. He's a little disappointed he didn't hit the ball out of the ballpark. I mean, he is that locked in. Great approach at the plate. He's not going up there looking to pull or looking to just seeing the ball, hitting what they give him. And he still has that good smile.
Now, the Indians will play the infield back except for Peralta at third. So a ground ball will tie the game. Nick Swisher swings and misses.
Nick Swisher at the plate, to me, this year looks a lot more quiet. I mean, there's little movement, and it seems to be giving him a little bit more time where he can turn on the ball, add a little more power to his swing, but he's real quiet. Nothing going on other than seeing the baseball.
And he had worked during the offseason with Kevin Long as well, because Nick was disappointed that he didn't have a great postseason and felt a lot of it was the extraneous movement at the plate, too wound up, and just tried to, you know, bring everything down just a notch.
Now, if you look at him from the side view, I mean, you see this. His head will really stay level all the way through the pitch. And that allows you, when you start bobbing your head up and down, that ball can really, really move. You see right here, if we draw a line, pretty much stays right on that line, and that allows you to see the ball. You don't have to make adjustments with your hands or your body. And one of the biggest things as a hitter is when you're coming up or you're tipping towards the pitcher, your head moves, and it just makes everything happen real quick.
The 1-2 fouled away. Swisher is just 1 for 8 at getting the runner in from third with less than 2 outs. So he wants to improve on that. He has 28 runs batted in, as we told you, having a very good season at 308 right now.
Michael, I told you it's scientific that when you make a great play out there, you always hit the next inning. You told me it doesn't work that way.
Usually you lead off.
See? So now you're agreeing with me.
You know what? I've come to the conclusion, Paul, it's probably best I agree with you because you're usually always right.
Yeah.
In some kind of weird way, you
I'm
turn
glad
out
I can
to be
win
right.
an argument in the booth because I never win them at home. I'll tell you that.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 on. Swing and a miss. The ball gets away from Morrison. They'll get an angle. They make the out at first. So Nick does not get the runner in. That leaves it to Juan Morano. Let's take a look now at the New York State Smokers Quit Line quiz so we can give you the answer. With Roy Halladay's perfect game last night, the Phillies became the 5th team with at least 2 pitchers to throw perfect games. Who are the other 4 teams? Now, we know the Yankees are 1 with Cone and Wells and also Larson in the World Series. Indians, Barker and Addy Joss. The Athletics, Braden and Hunter, Catfish Hunter. And then you got Burley and Robertson for the White Sox. I think this is the first year in the history of baseball that there have been 2 perfect games in one season. And we still have a lot of season to go. There were 2 in 1880, so in the modern era, it's never been done. And in 1880, it was 5 days apart.
You think about Halliday's perfect game last night and where it was played in Florida. I mean, that is a tough place endurance-wise for pitchers to control a game. I mean, you lose so much energy because of the heat and the humidity. But and Jack talked about it in our report on it. It looked like he could still keep going. So I mean, he's a pitcher above all pitchers in the National League right now. There's no doubt about it.
I also think it helps Paul when, I mean, that was a 1-0 game. He had to be perfect.
You know what? I saw the score, and you couldn't write a better script because there's something to be taken away from a perfect game when 8-0, 9-0, because that becomes the whole emphasis of the game.
Right.
Is a perfect game or a no-hitter. But I mean, you're so involved in trying to win a 1-0 game that it just adds to the excitement of that. I mean, he's a great pitcher. There's no doubt about it. Phillies, were somewhat criticized by trading a number 1 to bring him in, but obviously he's fit in well, and he's only going to help them the rest of the year.
I thought he was a sure bet to win the Cy Young Award, but Ubaldo Jimenez is going to have a say about that with an under 1 ERA. As Miranda swings and misses, and the Yankees can't get it done. Second and third, 1 man out and 2 strikeouts. In fact, Masterson struck out the side. Let's go to the 5th, 1-0 Indians. postgame with Jack Curry. So you want to stick around for that. It's a hot day here in New York City. But today after the postgame, don't miss a new WB Mason Presents The Joe Girardi Show as the manager breaks down the week's series against the Twins and the Indians. And afterward, it's a fun-filled new episode of Yankees on Deck presented by Tops Attacks. It all starts today after the postgame. It's only on Yes.
Are those both your shows? You do those too?
No. Tops Attacks is Outlighters.
Oh, okay. I saw a little Outlighter show on the big screen.
That's right. They played it on the big screen.
Why'd you let that one slip by?
After sometimes sleep, you know. Here's Valbuena. Fly ball center field. Granderson is there. And there's one away.
Well, what a difference from yesterday. Both pitchers pitching ahead, using their hard stuff early in the count to get ahead, trying to strike out with the breaking ball. Burnett has missed with a few pitches, but not many. He's thrown the ball well. Masterson, you just get the feeling that sooner or later the Yankees are going to break through.
There's Lou Marson. 4 hits and 9 at-bats in this series. And there's a strike. He had 3 hits yesterday, 3 doubles. And 3 runs batted in. I talked to Joe Girardi because so many people questioned the way the bullpen was employed yesterday when they scored 7 runs in the 7th to take the lead. And I said, why'd you have Mitre warm up and throw 3 pitches and then take them out? He said, well, once they brought in Branyan can't hit lefties. He said, well, what is Marte out there for? He said, I've got to bring him in that spot. He said, Branyan hits righties very well. He said, so although I had Mitre warmed up, he didn't get the guy out. Once they countered with Branyan, I have to bring in Marte at that point. There's a fly ball at the bat of Marson, and Swisher is there. Let's take a look at tomorrow's starting pitchers, brought to you by Fios TV, Internet, and Phone. This is Beyond Cable. This is Fios. A big Monday, Memorial Day matinee, starting at 12 on Yes. Mitch Talbot, who has good numbers for the Indians this year, 6-3, 3.73. And Andy Pettit, off to a great start, 6-1, 2.62. So a good Memorial Day here in New York City. Noon is the batting practice show. 12:30 is the pregame. 1:07. That man's going to throw the first pitch. And then I asked Joe, well, then why'd you take Marte out? Why couldn't you let him stay in instead of bringing in Chamber? He said, because Groot Solana hits lefties well. He said, sometimes the 8th inning arrives earlier. He said, I thought that was a spot that Jabba had to get out of it. So that's how I explained using those pitchers the way he did.
You know, you look at a manager's job is to put people in positions that, you know, they're accustomed to doing. Jabba's accustomed to getting those big outs late in the game. And, you know, if Jabba has his good day out there and then shuts the Indians down at the end of the 7th and 8th inning, then nothing's said. You look at the manager and you say, boy, you used your bullpen well. But, you know, when things backfire and, you know, people don't have the days that they're accustomed to seeing them have, then you got to answer the question.
There's a strike.
Say A.J. Burnett, you talk about location. Well, he's got good location with that fastball, both the 4-seamer and the 2-seamer. It's almost textbook pitching when you get ahead with your good fastball in the corners and then you go for your strikeouts with the slider or the breaking ball.
There's a line drive. Caught on one hop by Cano, and a 10-pitch inning for A.J. Burnett as he retires the bottom of the order in order against the Indians. After 4.5, we're halfway through. It's 1-0 Tribe. Baseball on Yes, brought to you in part by Acura. Acura Advance, and by Acela Express. Enjoy the journey. First pitch to Brett Gardner is inside. Yankees are not enjoying the journey against Masterson so far. They've gotten 4 hits, but they have not been able to push across a run. In the 4th inning, 2nd and 3rd, 1 man out, strikeout of Swisher, strikeout of Miranda. Gardner thinks bunt. Count 2-0. I think that's the part of his game that still has to grow, Paul, because if he was able to get down bunts consistently, he'd pick up a lot of hits that way. He'd never get into a slump.
Yeah, and you look at it, this is a great opportunity for him to expand that part of his game because he's getting the playing time. I mean, you know, when you're playing once, twice a week, you hate to waste your bats, you know, if you're not comfortable bunting. But, you know, now he's almost become the everyday player. You know, you can use everything because you got so many at bats, so much, you know, time to work on the things that can help you in the game.
Right back to Masterson. And they get Gardner for the first out. Now, Masterson has 5 strikeouts. So why don't we take a look at those, Paul?
You know, he's kept the ball down, and that's the main thing. He's going to get in trouble. You see that ball right there, probably the toughest pitch he's made all day. He's got good movement, and everything is down in the zone. And that's why he's been successful today.
Side view, he looks a little bit like David Justice.
David Justice action on the hill. Huh?
Yeah. There's a strike to Chad Moeller. The 0-1, rip foul.
See Chad Moeller getting a steady diet of that boring sinker in on his hands.
Blowing inside, that's the way he's working. Count 1-2. Starts for Cleveland, 1-12, but they're shutting down the Yankees right now and putting down Moeller on the breaking ball. 6 strikeout for Masterson.
Tough at bat, everything inside. All of a sudden, first time you see a slider right on the plate.
Now there's David. I'm telling you, I think he looks like
a little likeness.
Yeah. In the eyes, definitely in the eyes. Pitch to Derek Jeter. It's a strike.
No, this cannot be an indication of how Masterson's thrown the ball all year, but you know, you just look how confident he is today. Throwing his fastball early in the count for strikes, and slider right there, right on the black. All of a sudden, if you're Manny Ackley, you're saying, you know, who is this guy? And he's so far, you know, the bottom of the 5th inning, he's shutting down the New York Yankees like they're not taking bats up there.
The 0-2, swing and a miss. Well, Masterson has been very impressive. 7 strikeouts. That's as many as Masterson has had in his last 3 starts combined. Yankees go down in order. We go to the 6th. hosting a jazz night. Come enjoy a fun-filled night, including free hors d'oeuvres, drink specials, and great live music. For more information, please log on to nysteak.com or call 646-977-8325. You going to ask for NYY Steak today? You asked for Lobel's sandwiches yesterday.
Not a bad place to hang out on a Friday night, is it? NY Steak. I actually ate there last year during the World Series game.
How was it?
Really?
Did they treat you well?
Not so bad.
Yeah. You got pull, I'm telling you.
I got nothing.
Yeah?
All I am is a caddy for you now. You know how many people asked me last night, where's Michael Kay? Like we were going to hold hands and walk in together to the concert, you know? Where is he? Where is he? Huh? I was collecting index cards to get signed by you.
Well, I had a really nice New Jersey police officer. They were working the crowd. He came up and he goes, Neil's right. He said, you really do have a big head. So that's what you're doing for me. And
hey, listen, I had a guy come up to me yesterday. Nice guy. Comes up to me, gives me a bear hug. He weighs about 270. He's introduced to me as the biggest Yankee fan in the world.
Right.
He says, I just want to tell you that you're my second favorite players of all time. I said, I'm in the top 5 then. I said, I guarantee Mattingly's #1. That's it. And I'm telling you, he's squeezing me out thinking, man, this guy's going to hurt me here.
And he does. I mean, you don't like being touched either, so that's rare that you allow it.
Like that. Peeps are great here.
That one is driven deep to left. It's over the head of Gardner. That really took off. Gardner retrieves, and Trevor Crowe has himself a leadoff double here in the 6th.
You know, you see the route here, and you're talking about it, Michael. The ball is carrying, and sometimes you don't see the ball real well, but you see Brett Gardner kind of cut this straight across. And when you take that route right there, you're nowheresville. Brett Gardner, good defensive player. A lot of times during the day, you don't pick up the ball. It makes it difficult.
Here's Chu. Yankees want the Indians to get out of town before Chu gets hot because they've really shut him down.
You know, an outfielder's job is point A to point B, and if he went straight across here, and if he would have just gone straight across here, it's an easy play, and he'll make that play. But again, it's the read in a day game that you get from a fielder. You just don't pick it up as well, and you don't have time to adjust when it's hit that hard. Best outfielder you saw defensively. I mean Yankee. But you remember this being great outfield.
You know who was really an outstanding athlete? I mean, just a really great player out there? Winfield.
Yeah.
Great arm. Used to climb the wall. Just a really, obviously he's a Hall of Famer, so.
Everybody talks about Mickey Mantle and his defense, his speed. That's the one thing that you don't think Mickey Mantle, I mean, his switch hitter, home run power, but his speed is what I used to always hear about.
The 2-1. 2-2.
Again, A.J. Burnett with a man on second. You're already down a run, and all of a sudden Masterson's kind of getting in his groove out there. You got to realize somehow you got to try to save these runs. At some point in this inning, you know, if this runner's moved over, you're going to have to try to get a strikeout or keep the ball in the infield.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Foul tip held onto by Moeller. Big strikeout for Burnett.
And that is a big strikeout because now you still need a base hit to score a run. You know, if you let the shoot's a good hitter, so it's a big strikeout. You see that's a two-seam sinking fastball going away. It showed him the slider early in the count. I was saying to get out of this with saving a run, at some point you're probably going to have to get a strikeout. It was there to keep the guy on second, or you're going to have to try to strike out a guy if he gets him over to third. So he got the strikeout. Now you can't relax. You make your good pitches to get 2 outs here, save a run.
Pitch to Travis Hafner is a strike.
I tell you, Burnett's sharp. I mean, that's more than a slider. That ball had a lot of break on it. Ends up on the inside corner.
Grounded, grabbed there by Teixeira. They get the out as Crow moves to third. And that's the one thing that you could really say about Teixeira. Struggling so mightily at the plate, he's not taken out on the field.
You know, I don't do a lot of games, but every game I'm here, he does something defensively, whether it's pick a ball or make a play. And when he was traded over here or signed over here, that's what you heard about his defense. And I'll tell you one thing, he has not let anybody down the defensive side of the game. It's a good play, even in yes ball.
So one out away from getting out of the jam.
Going with the full shades over there. We talked earlier in the game how Derek said that, you know, extremely hard to pick up the ball off the hitter on a sunny day here at the new stadium with the white shirts.
And a strike. 2 outs, runners in scoring position. Burnett holds opponents to a .206 batting average.
You know, you were talking earlier in the game how, you know, he might just pitch from the stretch, and you don't know if it's that he bears down with people in scoring position or if he's that much more comfortable in the stretch.
Low bridging Kearns. I'm going to ask him tomorrow. I'm going to ask him tomorrow, and then we'll talk about it on the air, because why wouldn't he? I mean, it's not a hardship for a starter to work out of the stretch, especially if he's presented with those numbers. I'll ask Dave Island as well.
If you're Austin Kearns, last time you got hit in the back with a curveball, then a fastball up and in, you're trying to figure out, you know, what the pitching sequence is here.
Those are the numbers we're talking about. 336 with no one on base, and then 193 out of the stretch. And the 2-1. Outside 3-1. Burnett has nasty stuff today, and he just gave up that 1 run in the third. A single by Morrison, a sacrifice to second, and then Trevor Crow, a single to left center field. That's the only run in the game. Last time when he pitched against the Twins, he matched up against, let's see, Scott Baker, and they both put zeros up for 5 innings before the game was suspended because of rain.
Good sinking fastball. I mean, that's got so much movement on it. It almost looks like a left-handed slider. You see the bottom just drops out of that. And that's really, really hard to cover, isn't it?
And the 3-2. Strike 3. What a breaking ball. Big time pitching for A.J. Burnett. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's 1-0 Tribe as Burnett is dealing. The Indians over the Yankees, each team with 4 hits. Nice pitching by A.J. Burnett.
Really good. I mean, he was sharp as he was all game. Last inning, especially with the man on second base, got a couple. And as a hitter, you've got, see, that's almost a backup slider. You know he'll throw that two-seamer in.
Ground ball grabbed there by Branyan. They get Granderson.
And if you pick up a breaking ball, you expect it to be away, but this is almost that backup breaking ball, they call it. Ends up on the inside corner, and it just freezes you as a hitter.
Here's Mark Teixeira. It shows you how much of hitting is mental, because, I'm talking to Kevin Long about Teixeira. He said sometimes he hits the ball really hard, and then it's run down by an outfield, and then all of a sudden he thinks he's got to hit the ball out. And now he hits the ball right into the teeth of the shift as he has gunned down. He goes, so when you're starting to think I got to hit the ball out, then you change your swing. Time for another look at today's Toyota text ball. Once again, the question, which of these sports celebration injuries was the most bizarre? You've been texting us at 58772. You know about Kendry Morales out for the year, breaking his leg on a walk-off grand slam yesterday. And let's see how you voted. And 50% of you, fresh in the mind, picked Morales. Grammatica jumping, 23% Farrat headbutt. That was weird, where he headbutted the wall, I think, and knocked himself out. I think he was with the Redskins then.
Not a lot of Buckeye fans here. Ted Ginn only got 4% of the vote. Yeah. Now, being a Buckeye fan, I was up on the couch, jumping and screaming and yelling. They runs back the opening kickoff, and the next thing you know, he's out for the game, and we're getting smoked.
So you being a Buckeye fan, did you and George Steinbrenner team up against Jeter because he's a Michigan fan?
Oh, I used to text Jeter all the time. We had a couple wagers on the Ohio State-Michigan game.
Dinners, though, no money, nothing like that.
I mean, it was, dinner here, dinner there, but he's given up. I mean, Michigan is kind of fallen on hard times in football, but I still like to kind of rub it in on him a little bit.
I'm sure Rich Rodriguez loves hearing that, as Alex Rodriguez swings him as rich as the Michigan coach. You know Jim Tressel?
I do. Met him a few times. Actually played golf with his wife a few times.
She just had a health scare.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, well wishes to her.
Can you get me one of those vests?
You like that?
Yeah, that's sharp.
Little vest. I could get you one of those old Woody Hayes caps too, with the block O on it.
Yeah, it's got to be a big one though.
You know what? I don't know if people in New York know it, but it's such an unbelievable honor to dot the I in the Ohio and the Ohio. Maybe I could run a tuba on you out there. You could dot the I.
Have you ever dotted the I in Script, Ohio?
Are you kidding me? I think Jack Nicklaus was. It takes people like that.
I would need the tuba because, as you would say with my head, that's enough of a dot in the eye.
You just need a little clarinet, flute.
Alex Rodriguez works a 2-out walk, and here is the Yankees' hottest hitter, and really one of the hottest hitters in the big leagues. Robinson Cano, his average now at 361. On base percentage over 400. That was always the big thing with Robinson Cano. Well, you know what? He's never going to be a great player because his on-base percentage is never going to be that high. He doesn't take pitches. Well, when you hit 361, Paul, your on-base percentage is going to be up. Yeah,
I mean, he's the player right now, if you're home watching on TV, that, you just sit down and you watch how he goes about his at-bats now. He's comfortable. He looks like he's just in charge of the at-bat. He looks like he's controlling what's going to happen.
13 straight games, as we mentioned, and his batting average during that time, 462, 24 for 52. Five hits in 9 at-bats against Masterson. That includes today's 1 for 2. That one's driven to right center field. Could be trouble. Going back, Crow, and he makes the play on the track, right in front of the Yankee bullpen. So Cano gave it a ride, but not enough of a ride. No runs, no hits, no errors, and one man left on base. Crow got a good jump and hauled it in nicely as we take this one to the 7th. The stadium on Saturday, June 5th, for the Stadium Slugfest, when the undefeated WBA Super Welterweight champion Yuri Foreman defends his title against three-time world champion Miguel Cotto. Get your tickets today, Yankees.com/boxing, to see the history of boxing continue at Yankee Stadium.
We had to warm that up, Michael. You and I, a little wrestling match or something, huh?
That'd be great.
Yeah. I can see you in a, what do they call those wrestling things?
Tights?
Tights? Or?
Yeah, I'll pass. What a difference a day makes, Paul. 24 runs yesterday, 1 today, 26-8 hits, pitchers 12-2. Time of the game, 4:22, just 1:43 as we head to the 7th so far.
I would say pitching kind of dictates the pace of the game. Strike one usually helps.
The 0-2. 1-2. Low pitch count on the Verizon Wireless scoreboard with the Indians up 1-0. Just 85 pitches for Burnett. We said before the game, at the start of the broadcast, Paul, he had to give them innings, especially with the bullpen beaten up the way it is, and he's given them innings. He's pitched very nicely today.
He's also, this is the one guy, you know, if he makes a mistake to a lot of these guys, you know, it's a single, but, you know, you make a mistake to Brandon, and he'll put it in the seats, and that's the one thing, you know, leading off here, you don't want to walk a leadoff hitter, but you can't make a big mistake and give up a run, another run in a 1-0 game.
And the 2-2 popped up. Jeter shades his eyes from the sun. He does that very well. One away. 5 strikeouts for A.J. Burnett. Let's take a look at each and every one.
Well, we talked about Masterson. Burnett also good curveball. Kind of a slider there. Fastball out of the zone. Good two-seamer away. I mean, this is a clinic right here. You've seen about every good pitch that he has. Two-seamers, sliders, curveballs.
Here's Johnny Peralta. Now, we showed you Jeter making that play. This, not easy. Really struggling against the sun. Angling, shading his eyes. And then finally taking it home and going, wow, that was tough.
Yeah, a lot of times it's the height or the trajectory of the ball that stays in the sun, and that one right there looked like it stayed in for a long time. Jeet, pretty good at that play, but I mean, there's almost only so much you can do as a player. If it doesn't come out of the sun, you know, you kind of stab at it where you think it's going to be.
Hey, I got to send out a birthday wish today.
To who?
My sister, Debbie. It's her birthday. She is really the finest person I've ever met in my life. I can't believe I'm related to her. So happy birthday to her.
It's good to hear. How old? Am we allowed to say that?
I'll say it. She'll get
She's
really mad at me.
Younger or older?
She's older than me.
Okay. Don't say it.
She's 4 years older than me. I'm 49. So
Yeah,
if you can do the math, you know exactly how old she is today.
Well, you better think of something special next year. Yeah?
Johnny Peralta swings and misses. Before the game, a nice ceremony honoring some World War II veterans today. Norman DeYoung and Marvin Feinberg, as the Yankees all weekend have been honoring veterans. Yesterday, the Tuskegee Airmen, and today, Norman DeYoung and Marvin Feinberg. And Joe Girardi came out, took some pictures with them. A nice moment for men that really gave a lot of themselves to make this country what it is. And that's what Memorial Day weekend's all about. It's not about barbecues and things like that. And the men and women of the armed forces keep this country what it is, and we thank them every single day. But on this weekend, we really accentuate the thank yous. Fleet Week here in New York City. So a lot of servicemen and women here at the ballpark. And John Moore, our director's sister Kathy, her birthday is tomorrow. So happy birthday to Kathy. And she's 2 years older than John Moore. John is 74 years old. The 0-2. 1-2.
It's really funny to watch, not funny, but to watch Bernetti. It seems like he's complete control of his pitches, of the hitters, of the Indians lineup, but he's losing the game 1-0. So it's kind of a frustrating thing when you're throwing this well. You keep looking up.
Check swing. Did he go? He gets tangled up with Moeller.
We got people wallowing all over it. I think he hurt everybody on that pitch.
And Moeller's hurt. Balbuena is hurt.
He throws a heavy ball. He's knocking two out at a time.
Well, let's see. Balbuena was actually hit by the pitch. I wonder if he swung because the swing supersedes being hit, and that's what Joe Girardi's coming out to say. See, hit him on the back leg, on the foot. Did he go? I guess it didn't look as if he did. Well, let's check from this angle. No, I think he held up.
And hit Moeller right in the bicep then.
Oh, wow. Stepped on his hand, too.
Well, that's a weird play. And again, I mean, as catchers, the weirdest things happen, and seldom are they good. You know, you're getting ricochet balls coming at you, hitting you on the shoulders and the bicep. That time you end up having your hand stepped on. You know, Michael, you think about getting your hand stepped on, and then most people don't realize, you know, it hurts with tennis shoes. You put some metal spikes on there, and a 180, 200-pound guy standing on it. I mean, you could break bones, tear it open. You can do all kinds of things with those spikes. And you see that little spike mark there. Yeah.
Oh, it's awful. Here's Lou Morrison.
Again, you talk about Chad Moeller. He gets a couple days where he gets to play. You know, he hooks a home run foul. Now he's getting spiked, hitting the hand. I mean, these are the things that aren't supposed to happen when you get your limited starts.
Well, you see those metal spikes on Moeller's shoe. Obviously, Valbuena, let's see if he has the rubber or the metal. No, he's got metal.
Yeah.
So that's why you see those indentations on Moeller's hand. In the old days, I don't know if you guys did it when you first came up, Paul. A lot of players would sharpen their spikes.
Yeah, I always heard that story. I never saw or figured out what sharpen. I mean, a metal object going at you was enough without sharpening it. But I did hear those stories about
Ty Cobb, yeah. There's the start.
Again, it's like Burnett has a look at Moeller's hand. I mean, it's not the cut, but it's the pressure of that metal spike going into the bones and the ligaments in your hand. It's like AJ's got a real idea on what he wants to do. He busts him in first pitch, and then he's confident that he can hit that outside corner for strike one. Now you're 1-1. You know, when you're this sharp, you can go into an at-bat and set up, you know, strikes by throwing balls and be that confident you're still going to get outs.
One and two, free and easy, throwing strikes.
You look at what has happened in this at bat. He busts him in the first pitch with a two-seamer off the plate, goes strike away, go back to a two-seamer. Now he's, you know, he can throw that slider or the curveball to try and get a strikeout. This is one time where you don't want to overthrow it and throw it in the dirt because, you know, if it goes to the screen, obviously you put the runner into scoring position. A lot of times as a base runner, in a two-strike count, and if they start throwing over there, it was almost guaranteed that they were going to go to a breaking ball. They were trying to hold you close because they didn't want you to get a good jump on a breaking ball.
That happened a lot most of the time?
I always felt that was a reason that they were throwing over there with two strikes.
Let's see if the Yankees are doing that. Runner goes into a fastball.
Yep.
I learned a lot listening to you, O'Neill.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Does any of it help you in life?
Well, if I was young enough to play baseball, maybe.
Yeah. Next time you're at second base at the Fenway media game, you'll remember that.
Yeah. This will be the 100th pitch of the game for A.J. Burnett. A couple of young guys here at the game. And the 1-2. 2-2. Nothing Indians. Runner goes 2-2. Chet swing on a breaking ball. No throw, so a stolen base for Valbuena.
You see him laying in pretty good jump. Anytime you run on a breaking ball, obviously your chances of being safe are a little bit better, especially when it's hard to handle for Moeller down and away.
And they're probably also thinking, let's run on him because his hand is barking. Be tough to throw. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the aforementioned New York Yankees.
You know, we brought it up in the pregame, Michael, but you know, this is the first time that Moeller and Burnett have worked together, and they have absolutely been on the same page. Moeller has done a great job at mixing things up, keeping the game going quick.
3-2. Grounded in the hole, backhanded by Jeter. He sets and fires, and the ball gets away from Mark Teixeira. Valbuena will score, and the Indians lead 2-0 on the E6. So that is a tough break for A.J. Burnett and the Yankees.
strategic sets, throws. And I think every once in a while as a first baseman, you kind of get leaning towards Derek, and then you kind of lean the wrong way. It didn't look like it was that far off the target. Obviously, he's trying to stay on the base. Draws leather, but it just didn't look like he had his weight right where he could get fully stretched.
That's an E6 all the way, but you would at least want Teixeira to come off the back so the run doesn't score. Runner goes. That one's driven out to right field. Swisher back, still back, track, wall. He can't make the play. The carom played out there by Granderson. Marson scores. Moving to third is Donald, and it is 3-0 Indians, and Swisher slow to get up.
And that's kind of that dead arm that you hope that you didn't really hurt her shoulder. You know, these walls are padded. This ball's hit hard. He gets back one step short, and right shoulder goes right into the wall. Sometimes it can knock the wind out of you. Kind of the same play you see right at the end there. He takes his eye off the ball to kind of find the wall. Like I said, those walls are padded, but without he takes a lot of the beating.
Now, Paul, let's talk about that. People think the walls are padded, that it's like a pillow, but behind that wall is a concrete wall.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's absorbing some of it, but there's no give when a lot of force is into it.
No, I mean, you feel it, you know, and the padding isn't pillow soft. I mean, it's much better than in the old days where, you know, I played at Wrigley Field and it was a brick wall with a little ivy on it. But still, if you're going full bore as a running, you see the impact. Remember Johnny Damon a couple of years, he separated his shoulder, hitting into the wall. I mean, it can happen. Lenny Dykstra did it a few times in Philadelphia in the old days. So, just depending how you hit. And a lot of times what really is an outfielder is as you're lunging towards the ball, you kind of lose your balance. And so you don't have anything to brace it.
A drag bunt fielded there by Teixeira, and he's going to beat Crow to the bag for the final out. But 2 quick outs in the inning, then a hit batter, a stolen base, an E6, a triple. And just like that, the Indians turn a 1-0 lead into a 3-0 lead at the end of 6.5. It's time for the 7th inning stretch, but we'll stay right here and honor America in the Bronx.
Silent prayer as we remember the servicemen and women who are serving our country at home and around the globe. Thank you. Now Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America. To the ball game.
on the postgame show. The Yankees are trying to avoid another downer of a postgame show for Yankee fans as they trail this one 3-0. So they got to play some catch-up. On the Verizon scoreboard, you see 3-5-0 for the Indians and 0-5-1 for the Yankees. And very simply put, you know, I know they're a major league team and they're 25 healthy young men and they're going to be battling and competitive. But the Yankees can't lose 2 games in a row to an Indians team. They can't be shut down for Justin Masterson, who has an 11-game losing streak. I mean, we say they can't, but, you know, the odds are, on paper, that they're a better team than the Indians, and they've got to show that. Yesterday was a very, very dispiriting loss. And Nick Swisher maybe starts to come back with a single to center field.
You know, Masterson has been really, really good, but he hasn't had to pitch out of a jam all day. You know, you just wonder if you can get something going as the Yankees to help him realize. And you see Nick Swisher just staying on this pitch, drive right back up the middle. I tell you, he's got a good swing working.
So I guess Nick's shoulder okay after banging into the wall in the previous inning. Here is Miranda, 1 for 2 against Masterson. Pitch outside.
You know, it's funny how you talk about Masterson and how he hasn't won a game, and all of a sudden, you know, you're pitching well. Now you get to the time of the game where, you know, if you have to get out of a jam, some of that negative thinking comes back. You know, can I get through this? This is the New York Yankees. I haven't won a game. All of a sudden, you have to start sorting through some things, and you lose your sharpness, you lose your control, and you just let your mind, your negative mind can take over at times.
And 3-0. The Yankees are hoping that's happening right now with Masterson. There's nobody warming. He only has 90 pitches. Gardner is on deck.
This is a good visit here. Tim Belcher's going to go out and talk, and I wouldn't be real surprised if Manny Acta would get that bullpen going and don't give him an opportunity to throw this game back into the Yankees' corner. And you've got to get some kind of positive thing if you expect him to continue to throw the ball well. Michael, I'm going home early tonight to watch you and Mike Tyson.
You'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's an 8 p.m. start, center stage. Yes, it's something that you have to watch. You'll be shocked by this guy and the things that he says. There's a strike to Miranda, so whatever Belcher said clicked for one pitch. Tony Sipp up in the bullpen. Oh, nice stab there by Branyan. And he takes the out. So Miranda is retired as Swisher moves to second.
You said it, Michael, as a first baseman, you can't get off the line much holding them off, put him in position to make this play. And when you have the lead, especially at first base, you knock that ball down, you get it any way you can get an out. You start counting outs and how you can get out of this game with a win. See, he doesn't creep off the bag much. That's a tough call for an umpire, too. The ball was before the base.
Gardner shows bunt. Well, the rule is if it's before the base, the home plate umpire has to make the call. If it's after the base, the call becomes the call of the base umpire. Because before the base, the body is kind of in front of the ball. And he could be blocked out. The 1-0. There's a strike. So 3-0 Indians, 2 unearned runs in the top of the 7th inning. Makes the Yankees climb a little bit more difficult. Right back up the middle and knocked down there by Balbuena. And that keeps Swisher from scoring. And he had to dive back as they were going to throw behind him. Boy, Masterson just missed stabbing that ball up the middle.
Again, this is a turn of events here. I mean, this could be a double play, and it ends up being a hit and keeping this inning going. Ball's knocked down with regard to speed. Obviously, you're not going to have a play. Ouch. You know what hurts there? And everybody that ever put on a big league uniform is that the third base coach, you're taught to run around third base as you're going home until they hold you up. And all of a sudden you have to stop. And we've talked about those metal spikes. And when you stop, you stop. Toenails and all go flying into the end of those shoes. Right there, you're like, ouch.
All right, so Francisco Cervelli being sent up the pinch hit for Chad Moeller. Big spot in the game, so Joe Girardi's going to his other catcher.
Well, we talked about it, Michael, how good and how effective he has been. He's only 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter, but his numbers this year with men in scoring position, which this bat is, has been as good as anybody in the league.
14 for 24, Paul. That's 583.
That's pretty good.
Leads the majors. And also a 633 on-base percentage with runners in scoring position. And he's not trying to do too much up there. He's just trying to put the ball in play, and then this year it's been finding holes for him. So first and third with 1 out. Yankees trying to get on the board. They trail 3-0, bottom of the 7th. So Tony Sipp, the lefty, and Jensen Lewis, the righty. The old Jeff Nelson, fake to third, fake to first.
It works every time or no. Have you ever seen that work?
Never. And Al Leiter insists that it does work because even if you don't pick somebody off, at least you're making the batters think, or the runners think, that they might get picked off. And you can't have that secondary lead. That's what he says.
When you hold your baseball academy, you don't teach that move.
Well, when Al's a guest speaker. Cervelli 4 for 4 this year at getting the runner in from third with less than 2 outs. Now, this is no knock on Cervelli. We just gave you the numbers, how effective he's been. Big spot for the Yankees, bottom of the 7th inning. And the guy they're sending up to pinch hit is Francisco Cervelli. So their bench is a little short with the injuries. Derek Jeter's on deck. And he swings and misses. So Cervelli down on strikes. Big strikeout for Justin Masterson. 8th strikeout. Let's take a look at the pitch by pitch against Cervelli, brought to you by Suzuki Kizashi.
Probably the best pitch he had to hit. First pitch right down the middle, but coming off the bench, you want to kind of time him a little bit. You see Masterson still keeping the ball down. Good movement, good two-seamer. Gets him a strikeout, but as a pinch hitter, you know, it's really hard to go up there and get yourself in a hole like he did. Like I said, that first pitch right down the middle, little movement. Probably the best pitch he had to have to hit the whole at bat.
Here's Derek Jeter, a bunt single in the first. Since then, shut down, grounded to third, and a strikeout. 2,811 hits, leading all active players. Swing and a miss. First Yankee to lead the majors in active hits since Johnny Mize back in 1952. 100 pitches for Masterson, 64 strikes. Derek about a 380 hitter at home this year. 350 lifetime against the Indians. There's the old Jeff Nelson again. And every time in any ballpark, you get the same reaction from the fans. And I guess people start screaming balk. It's obviously not a balk. It's so blatant you think the umpires would pick it up. Jeter 10 for 24 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Grounded foul. He's 4 for 11 against Masterson, including today.
Well, I was talking about at the beginning of the inning. I mean, Masterson has just controlled the lineup all day, and you just wonder if he got in a jam, if he was going to be able to keep that going. And so far, he got Cervelli on a big strikeout. Now he's got Jeet down 0-2. A.J. Burnett waiting for that scoreboard to change, trying to get back into this game.
Runner goes, pitches inside, so stolen base for Gardner. And that's big because now a single makes it 3-2. And then you have 2 innings to play with. Line drive, base hit. Here comes Gardner. Here's the throw. Here's the play. He's safe. A 2-run single for Jeter. And the Yankees trail 3-2.
Well, there's just certain times for certain players to do well. If you see this pitch is up. And you haven't seen Masterson pitch up out over the plate very much, and Jeet takes advantage of it. Stolen base, good base running by Gardner. Exciting play at the plate, got everybody on their feet. Got a little life in the stadium now, Mike.
Hand got in just ahead of the tag, and Maniacta has seen enough. You needed every bit of Gardner's speed to get him in. A good throw by Crow, a good tag by Marson. But Gardner scores and then does some umpiring as well. This is how close it was. The Yankees have made it close, 3-2. We'll be back. Jeter, let's take a look.
Well, here's his success all day. That sinker down and in, just boring in off the plate. Strike 3. Same count to Jeter. Probably trying for the same pitch, and you see that ball just lays out over the plate. Derek Jeter's too good of a hitter in situations like that to miss, and it just shows you how fine on the line is against a good major league hitter. Jeet trying to read that ball to see if he can go to second. Good enough throw, or it could have been cut. He's got to stay at home.
For Jeter, RBI number 1,098 and 99, tying him with Don Mattingly for 9th place on the Yankees all-time list. Tony Sipp against Curtis Granderson. And Manny Acta has to make the call to the bullpen, brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible.
Was not surprised to see a slider, their first pitch to Granderson. You know, Cano hit a fastball the other night for a grand slam. Granderson had a great swing on a fastball from Sip. All of a sudden, you see him coming out of the bullpen with a little memory of how they hit him, and then you got back-to-back sliders.
Now, if you're Granderson, knowing that you hit the fastball off him, are you expecting him to throw a slider there?
Well, you're expecting early in the count. You don't, he might try to get ahead with the fastball, but definitely late in the count, you're not going to see a fastball to hit.
So now that he threw 2 sliders early in the count, can he expect a fastball at all?
Yeah, I mean, you can, obviously you just can't slider, but also you've put that pitch in his mind, and, you would try to get that fastball there. Here's a fastball away here, just to try to change up the view to the hitter a little bit.
Driven to right field. It is a base hit. It's going to go up against the wall. Jeter motors to third. Granderson's at second with a double. So the Yankees have runners on second and third with 2 outs.
All right, and you see this, Mike, you called fastball, but in my mind, this is a bad sequence because you went slider away, then you go to a fastball, but you went fastball away. In my mind, as a hitter, if I've seen slider away, and then I see a fastball in, that could be trouble. Good play by Chu to get the ball in, keep Jeet at third base. But if you're going to change pitch selection from slider, you've got to change your location also.
Here's Mark Teixeira in a big spot, and we have detailed ad nauseum how Mark has struggled. No shift with runners on second and third, so they don't give him that easy hit, and also he's batting from the right side. Outfield straightaway and deep. And the 0-1. 0-2.
You see, that was a slider in, and then that was a fastball away. So you've changed location again. Teixeira just looks like he is in between, and not on all at bats, but just with runners in scoring position. A little bit under that ball. Good extension, not a bad swing. It's just trying to force it to happen, trying to knock in those 2 runs.
Count 1-2.
And I just think if pitchers knew how much struggling hitters are, your mind's just racing when you're 0-2, I think you would go after guys immediately. If you let him get back into the count, then his confidence is going to get up that, this is the time I'm going to break out of this thing.
The 1-2. I've always wondered why it seems like, all right, now I'm going to get cute on 0-2, and it happens every single time.
I mean, you're scolded so much as a pitcher if you give up a hit 0-2. As a hitter, you're so defensive when you're 0-2, and if they just waste a pitch and then go for the perfect pitch, now you're 2-2, and I consider 2-2 a hitter's count.
Well, that's what it is right now on Teixeira. Yankees have Jeter at third and Granderson at second. A single in all likelihood gives the Yankees a 4-3 lead. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. The 2-2. Off the end of the bat, foul back.
And if you're Masterson, you're almost sitting on the bench expecting something bad to happen. You cannot get a win for anything. That's kind of a tough pitch to take, but a tough pitch to hit. Best thing that can happen is what happened right there is you just foul it off and hope you get something better to hit.
The 2-2. Driven deep to left field. Going back, turns on the track. Looking up. See ya! A monster shot by Mark Teixeira. A 3-run home run. And the Yankees lead 5-3 on the 250th career home run by Mark Teixeira. All early. That got out into the bleachers.
You know what? He had thrown a lot of sliders. He got ahead on a slider, and this looks like almost a curveball, and it's just hung over the plate. But this hole went back, and that home run was set up by the pitch before, where Sipp threw a great fastball off the plate, and he got another shot at it. Good feeling for Mark Teixeira. Big hit.
Has not been a good weekend for Sipp in New York. The grand slam off the bat of Cano, and then that long 3-run home run by Teixeira. And Alex Rodriguez takes a strike. Now, Teixeira had an RBI yesterday when he was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded. But this one, into the Bronx sky and then landing in the bleachers, that's his first RBI with a hit since May 17th. Long stretch, the 0-1. Alex pops it up. Branyan is there. Branyan makes the play, and that's going to do it. But the Yankees come back. 5 runs on 5 hits. No errors, nobody left. The big blow. A long 3-run home run by Mark Teixeira, which puts the Yankees in the lead 5-3. The Coors Light cold, hard
yeah,
blast.
Well, it's still fresh in your mind. Just happened. Mark Teixeira battled, fouled off some pitches, got a breaking ball. And I guess you don't have to talk anymore because that landed in an area where you don't see it land very often. See his eyes, his concentration, and right there he knew it was gone. When you hit a ball that good, as soon as it hits the bat, what a feeling.
So A.J. Burnett now gets rewarded for his perseverance, and he's got a chance to pick up a win. He gave up 1 earned run over the first 7 innings, then victimized by some shoddy defense in the 7th.
Interesting to see how Burnett goes about things, too. He's been so sharp, but he's been pitching from behind all day. All of a sudden, now he has a lead. See if he can continue to just go after these guys and mow them down.
The 1-0 to Chu. Down to Alex Rodriguez. And they continue to shut Chu down. He is 0 for 4 today. And he is 0 for his last 17.
There's one guy that wishes we had a 3-game series here and he could get out of town. Chu, we talked about him a lot in the pregame of the first night in. The best overall player on this team, best hitter offensively, defensively, pretty much does everything. He's a good, solid player. But just absolutely nothing has gone well for him here in New York this weekend so far.
Big crowd here at the stadium on this Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. 45,706. Here's Travis Hafner. Pitch inside. Well, Joe Girardi couldn't draw it up any better. He'd like to get Burnett through this inning and then hand it to Mo, so he wouldn't have had to mess with anybody else in the bullpen. And the reason for that, the Yankee bullpen coming into today's action, they are 12th out of 14 teams in the American League with a 4.60 ERA. So Jabba, who struggled yesterday, he's up, and Damaso Marte is up. Mariano's getting the uniform right. And you got to feel a little bit sorry for Justin Masterson, Paul, because this guy has an 11-game losing streak. Looked like he was pitching a great game.
Oh, he was pitching a great game, and all of a sudden, you know, he got into one jam and made one bad pitch to Derek Jeter, who just kind of gave Mark Teixeira an opportunity to come up and hit that huge 3-run homer.
Swing and a miss. Hafner foul tips it, but held on to by Cervelli.
Again, he's set up guys hard early in the count, and then a good breaking ball, strike 3. He's done a lot today, Michael. He's kind of changed that from the slider to the curveball there. See, Hafner took that swing almost like he expected that breaking ball or that slider to get on the inside part of the plate. That was kind of didn't quite make it.
Pitch to Kearns inside, 1-0. Boy, Burnett has to feel good. He had defeat on his mind, and now he's looking at a victory if get 4 more out somehow. He's looking to complete 8 innings for the second time this year. He did it on April 29th at Baltimore. And the last time he pitched, he had some late magic. He had the 5 innings of scoreless ball against the Twins, game suspended. He goes to sleep, wakes up the next day. Derek Jeter hits a home run in the 6th inning off Brian Dunsing. He's still the pitcher of record, doesn't pitch that day, but he picks up the win. 1-1. He's dealing. He can see the finish line. And the count 1-2.
You really can't say enough about what Moeller did today, too. Just the first time he's caught him, kept him in a great rhythm. Didn't see a lot of guys shaking off or anything like he did yesterday. Now Cervelli's going to catch him here in the 8th.
Kearns 0 for 2 in his hit by pitch there. That started that 2-run rally in the 7th inning. Put the Yankees in a 3-0 hole. Strike 3. What a way to finish for A.J. Burnett. A 94-mile-an-hour fastball. And he strikes out the last 2 batters that he's going to face in this game. Yankees lead 5-3. We head to the bottom of the 8th. official truck of the New York Yankees. Jensen Lewis comes on for the Indians. And he'll face Robinson Cano to start off the bottom of the 8th. Cano is 1 for 3. Extended his hitting streak to 13 straight. And the count 1-0. Those are the numbers on Lewis. Not too bad, but too many walks. 17 base runners, that means, in less than 11 innings pitched. Foul back. Ah, kid brought a glove and a really nice play. There he is. Getting high fives from some fans and a big Sunday grin. You know, you said something like this yesterday, Paul. 30 years from now, he's going to be talking about that. Yeah, I caught this ball at the stadium. Cano, Swisher, and Miranda. Count 3-1.
See those in-between pitches, the close pitches that can go either way. When you're a hot hitter, it seems like everything goes your way. You set up 3-1 for a good pitch to hit.
Wow. Well, he is really punishing the baseball of late.
Yeah, you said he was 1 for 3, and I'm thinking, you know, he's hit the ball better than that. But, you know, they've run down a ball out in right center. He hit right on the nose. I mean, it's just... It's a mental thing when you go up there. You just know you're going to hit it hard somewhere. And the way you make your outs is if you hit it hard at somebody when you're hitting the ball like this.
That one is looped to left field, a base hit. So another 2-hit day for Robinson Cano. Well, today and throughout the Yankee season on Yes, we are asking you to vote along with us for the Chevy Player of the Game. You can text your vote to 58772 or simply vote online at yesnetwork.com. Now, today's candidates are number 1, A.J. Burnett, number 2, Derek Jeter, number 3, Justin Masterson, number 4, Mark Teixeira. Vote now, make your voice heard. Standard text messaging rates apply.
You know, a lot of those are pretty obvious, the player of the game. And then, you know, there's 2 guys there, obviously, Teixeira with a big home run, but Burnett, the way he's thrown the ball all day, that's a tough vote today, Mike.
You know what? I think I might give it to Burnett.
Yeah.
Broken bat and a base hit for Nick Swisher. Swisher's 2 for 4.
You know, a lot of times, it's a funny way to look at it, but a lot of times you can tell, you see Nick Swisher stays with it enough, broken bat, that it died a hero with a hit. You can tell how a team is hitting the ball. You wonder if Masterson is just that good, or if, you know, the team's just not swinging the bat well. Well, you see, as soon as Masterson's out of the game, everybody seems to be having good swings. You know, you get the 3-run homer, you get some big hits. So that, to me, as a manager, tells me that Masterson had really, really good stuff, and it wasn't my team going, you know, just going out there and going through the motions if you're Joe Girardi.
Here's Juan Miranda. Now, I need you to put on your doctor's cap for a minute because I want you to see something, Paul. Watch when Nick Swisher runs to first. And remember, he had run into the wall before. Watch how he's like dangling his right arm without pumping it. Is that a problem, you think?
Yeah, there's definitely something in there that's hurting. You kind of get that dead arm.
And he ran into the wall with that shoulder.
So Gino and Stevie will be looking at that. The infamous, was it the AC joint that is in your shoulder? Is that it? You know, you can mess that up or get it bruised.
And you know what's weird, Paul, is after he ran into the wall, he's 2 for 2. Single to center, and then that bloop single to right center. That one is drilled to right field. Off the bat of Miranda. That's one out, up against the wall. Cano scores. Swisher moves to third. Moving to second with an RBI double. Juan Miranda, and it's 6-3 Yankees.
Boy, if you look at, you bring in that bullpen, and boy, the Yankees are just feasting. This ball's hit right on the nose.
I was watching Swisher run, Paul, and you can see he ran the same way to third base. As he crosses second there, he's keeping that right arm dangling. He's pumping only the left arm. Yankees can ill afford to lose. Swisher's had such a great May. Infield is in. Brett Gardner takes pitch outside. This is Jensen Lewis's first appearance since May 4th. The 1-0. 1-1.
These are at bats that if you're Brett Gardner, of course everybody wants to go up with men on base and start driving the ball into the seats, become a home run hitter for an at bat. But you really got to work on what you do. I mean, you're a slap hitter, slap the ball out. A couple RBIs. I think he did a little too much there, but he's going to get one in.
Chu has a very good arm, and Swisher didn't want to test it. Really airmailed that, but Lewis was backing up. Arm was a little too good.
You hate to say, but if you look at this, Chu just let this one go. A lot of times when you haven't got a hit in a while, you get a little anxious to let something good happen. He did airmail that one. Pitcher backing up like he should be. But if you look at that last swing by Brett Gardner, just it looked like he tried to do a little bit too much with it. Try to hit it in the seats instead of just drive it in the outfield, get your runs in.
Infield remains in for Cervelli. Another RBI opportunity for him. Driven out to right field deep. Swisher tags. Chu fields. Here's the throw. Another strong one, but up the first base line. A sac fly for Cervelli. And now it's 7-3.
We said the first time when Cervelli pinch hit, the best pitch he had to hit in the account was a 1. And you see, he got it deep enough. You see Swisher running pretty well there. Cervelli didn't allow the account to get deep that time. Saw the first pitch out over the plate. Good job of driving the ball to right field.
Runner at second. Here's Jeter. Jeter got a big hit for the Yankees in this game. Big hit. With 2 outs,
2 strikes.
Runners on second and third, 2 strikes, and he picked up that 2-run single. And what a difference the last 2 innings were from the first 6. Not a save situation, but Mo has not had many opportunities to pitch, so he continues to warm. Yankees need to get him work. The 0-1. There's a strike.
You look at Burnett's outing today, it looks like it's going to be 8 innings, and then you add the 5 innings in Minnesota. He's been sharp for the last 13, 14 innings, and that's a good sign for the Yankees.
Swisher has a grin on his face, so maybe it's not as bad as the running style would indicate, as Jeter grounds one softly to Valbuena, and that's going to do it. But the Yankees get 2 insurance runs, 3 hits and 1 left. Indians have their last try in the 9th. Yankees up by 4. Yes, is brought to you in part by Lovaza, by Honda. Look for money-saving leases and low financing at your Honda dealer, and by Heineken. Give yourself a good name. As we go to the ninth inning, it's time, Paul, for the Land Rover driving the game. Why get a car when you can own a Land Rover?
Well, the only one I can think of that people will remember is Mark Teixeira. 2 strikes, a curveball. Ended up in State Farmville out there.
Is that the what that area is called? State Farmville?
It is now State Farmville. How'd they do with
it? Well, Mariano has not pitched since Wednesday in Minnesota when he pitched twice. He completed the suspended game and then the scheduled game, and now trying to get the final 3 outs of a 7-3 Yankee lead here in the ninth. Russell Branyan against Rivera.
You know, if you look out there at State Farmville, as we now call it, Michael,
right.
there, there's a lower section, and then there's the penthouse, and he went into the penthouse in the upper deck of the State Farm.
So you got the lower State Farm.
Then you're up here in the penthouse. You know, you get up here in the penthouse, boy, you've hit it. I'm looking at this day, Michael. A beautiful day. You come to the ballpark. How many good things have happened if you're a Yankees fan? You know, it looks like you're going to win. You know, Burnett threw a great game for you. Jeter comes through with a huge hit. Teixeira hits a 3-run homer, and it's not a save situation, but you get to see the greatest closer pitch. I mean, that's a lot of bases covered for a Yankee baseball game.
It's a nice day.
Right?
It's a nice day. Now, what would it be in right field, Paul? Would it be Modellville or the town of Modell's? Modelland? Modelland.
Modell Land is kind of a local thing, and Modell's is local, so let's go with Modell Land.
Was this a check by Branyan? Yes, it was. Good call. So the count 2-2. Swing and a miss. Branyan down on strikes. He's 0 for 4. Remember, after the last out, joined Bob Lorenz in the studio for the W.B. Mason postgame. Get comprehensive highlights and analysis of this game against the Indians. Plus, Jack Curry gets the players' reaction from the clubhouse. It's all coming up on the W.B. Mason postgame. It's only on Yes.
Michael, I can see already you're going to have a lot more energy in the postgame today than you did yesterday. I
was a little beat yesterday.
I can just see it.
Because you weren't exactly
I was
flitting
trying
around
to
like
hold
a
you up
bumblebee
over
either.
here, man.
Here's Johnny Peralta. And there's a strike. Peralta 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. He's got 2 strikes now in this at bat. Series finale tomorrow. It's a Monday. It's a matinee. So remember that. We'll be on the air at 12 with the batting practice show, 12:30 pregame, and the first pitch from Andy Pettit will be 1:07. So Monday matinee on Memorial Day. The 0-2. Good pitching matchup, too, as Andy Pettit will go against Mitch Talbot.
We're going to have the Memorial Day Yankee hats out on the field tomorrow, too.
And you're going to get a couple for the booth, right?
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to get one. I don't know if they got your side, but we're going to give it a shot.
Fouled away.
Big plans tonight, Michael?
Taking my sister out for a birthday.
Good.
You? I know you're watching the Tyson Center stage at 8.
Absolutely. I'm going to get I think I'm heading to Frankie and Mary's house tonight.
Really?
Everybody's got a Frankie in New York, right?
I guess you do.
Yeah. A little home cooking. Everybody likes home cooking. So,
what kind of cooking is that?
It's Italian. I'll tell you that.
They must have a lot of money to be able to feed you.
No. Just warmed up here. You know?
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts for Rivera.
A 2-seamer. You don't see there much from Mariano, but running that ball in on Peralta.
Yes, Mo, the pitch by the Yankees, Mo.
Tied him up Got his hand off the bat, trying to pull those hands in to get the barrel to it, but it just happens too quick.
Pitches inside to Valbuena.
You know, every time Mo takes the mound for the next, couple weeks, you're going to wonder if he's back 100%. You know, you see that two-seamer and you see that cutter he just threw. He still has the movement, 90 miles an hour. I mean, he can get up 93, 94, but obviously the movement on Mo's pitch is much more important than the velocity.
Shattered bat. Mo has to get out of the way. Stays with the ball, and that'll do it. As the Yankees win this one 7-3. I'll tell you what, Paul, that was a phenomenal athletic play. I mean, how many people could do what he just did?
And I knew it was going to bring a grin to a lot of people's faces. Watch little Mo's little dance step here, because that bat's coming at you. He got over the bat, knocked it down. Look, he's smiling as he threw the ball. He knows Jeter's going to be on him as soon as he gets to him.
And the stay locked into the ball. Now watch Mariano and Yesmo. He avoids the bat with a very athletic jump, then has the presence of mind to stay there and get the ball and knocks it down. So Yesmo Rivera right there. And as you said, he has a big grin on his face as he will make the throw to first base. You have to stick around, by the way, for the post-game show to find out who's today's Chevy player of the game. Still smiling over that play. You know what? I know it's the last play of the game, but that is a classic play by Mariano Rivera. A classic hit for Mark Teixeira. He's one of the stars of this game. He's with Jack Curry. Jack?
Mark, you're down by 1 run, 7th inning, 2 outs. You fall behind 0-2 in that at-bat. Take us through what happens after that.
Yeah, first pitch, slider down, and then, fastball that I fouled back. And I just wanted to get a pitch that I could hit, try to make something happen. You let the slider over the plate and put a good swing on it.
You've continually said, I know it's going to come, I know it's going to come. That's your 250th career home run. Could that be something that catapults you forward?
Well, it's been a good month. Overall, I've had a great May, and I want to keep that going. I'll take 4 more months like I had in May all the time. So, just keep doing what I've been doing, and hopefully, I stay hot the rest of the year.
How about from a team perspective? Deflating loss yesterday, but you guys come and turn the trick on the Indians today. How uplifting to make that comeback?
Yeah, you can't let one loss ruin you. We had a tough game yesterday. We didn't get the job done, but that doesn't affect what we do today. AJ came out and pitched a great game. You got to give him all the credit. He kept us in the game, and our bats finally came through.
Thank you very much, Mark. Michael, it's back to you.
All right, thanks, Jack, and thanks to Mark as well. So that big 3-run home run gave the Yankees a lead, turned a 3-2 deficit into a 5-3 lead, and they eventually win this one 7-3. Mariano Rivera looked good getting the final 3 outs. We got an award to give out, then the postgame with Bob and Jack. Stick around.